Outreach Community Health Centers is proud to provide accessible and affordable health care for the entire family, regardless of insurance status. They offer complete primary care for children and infants, immunizations including COVID-19 vaccinations, booster shots, on-site pharmacy, dental care, mental health and emotional support, and more. Further services include assistance with baby items such as clothing, formula, diapers, help with transportation, and locating housing and employment. For more information, visit ochc-milw.org.
Live from multiple locations via the miracle of Skype, it's the LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing. Co-host, Ed Kaluka. Featuring dangerous Dan Margetta and Brian Schmidt. LTN is a caller-driven program, and your participation is encouraged by calling 414-421-7901. That's 414-421-7901. Now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
And welcome to the program. Glad you could join us. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. When my mom was alive, she was a regular listener to this program, even though she didn't really know a heck of a lot about NASCAR. But she listened anyway, and I bet you there's a couple of moms listening to this program right now. Right, Brian and Dan?
Oh, yeah. Happy Mother's Day to my mom and all the moms out there. My mom listens every week. She tells me if we do something wrong.
Great.
Yes, happy Mother's Day to my mom. I highly doubt she's listening because they're probably in church, but happy Mother's Day anyway.
Well, there's always that, that seems like a pretty good excuse. This is a pretty momentous occasion. From Easter Sunday until Mother's Day, it was roughly a month. And on Easter Sunday is when we had a little problem with our computer, and it crashed while we were doing the show, and we were pretty upset, and we all wondered what we were going to do, and we decided it was finally time to go buy ourselves a new computer. And several listeners that were listening came on the Hangover Show, which is our internet version of this program when it's over, called and said they were going to donate money to our new computer. And Jerry Bernhardt up in northern Minnesota, who is a regular listener, was the first one. And then Bill Gorski, Jackie Hall, Tony Gasson Jr., Jane Wachowski, Paul Rasmussen, Michael Teachin all donated cash to this program so we could get a new computer. Our buddy Cadillac Rob Roush offered to help put together the components that we bought. And for the first time, our fancy new high-speed, state-of-the-art computer is being used for this program right now. And thank you from all of us here at LTN. We consider you guys more than listeners. You are partners of ours on this program, and we sure appreciate what you did for us. So, now then, if there's any problem with the way I come through, my own internet connection has nothing to do with the computer because we had an issue with it earlier today. So let's hope it all stays together. We're racing. We never raced on Mother's Day. If we did, it was a Saturday night. Back in the old days, it was always the Saturday night before Mother's Day was at the Nashville Fairgrounds racetrack. It was a 420 lapper. And now we're racing on Mother's Day, and we're at Darlington, of all places, the throwback track. Todd Bailing talking to you from Greendale, Wisconsin, joined by my three partners, beginning with Ed Kaluka of West Bend, Wisconsin. Feeling a little under the weather today. Hi, Ed.
Yeah, we're not making it today, so just sit here quietly and enjoy the show.
There we go. Dan Margetta of St. Francis, Wisconsin. Hi, Dano.
I originally had planned for Brian and I'd be doing this radio show from the road. We did a little dirt track excursion the last couple of days. A little weather in Illinois kind of changed our plans. We ended up going to race in Wisconsin last night, so we're home for the show.
And Brian Schmidt of Utzberg, Wisconsin. Who drove, anyway?
Yes. We used Dan's car, and I did most of the driving. I got to drive the Hot Rod Lincoln. It was pretty cool.
Neat car, huh? Was that
lots of power. It's a good unit.
And it's a 4-cylinder, I think, isn't it, Dan?
You never would tell it's a 4-cylinder when you're driving it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a turbo 4. It's a Mustang standard equipment engine, isn't it, Dan?
I think so.
Yeah, pretty sure that's the one. Well, pretty cool. And
I put it through its paces, and it passed.
Nice. That's a beautiful thing. Lovely of all of you to join us on Mother's Day. If you'd like to call this program at any time during the show, when the phone rings and you hear it answer, Matt Losey back in our studios in Waterford, Wisconsin, will be the one answering the phones, and you can call us at 414-421-7901. They're racing, as we mentioned, at Darlington. Truex, 169.409 miles per hour. He didn't quite break into the 28s. He was at a 29.028. And the segments today will be at lap 90, lap 185. It is a 293-lap race on that mile and a third. It's a tough race. It used to be a 500-miler. They had a 500-miler on Labor Day and a 400-miler in early in the year, and this one is the 400. A beautiful place to have a race. A tough track for the drivers. The lady in black, you know the story. They had to build it an egg shape to make it around some farmer's pond, and it's the oldest racetrack NASCAR has and will race on.
I like it. I think it's one of my favorite places. I like the fact that it's not unpredictable, but it's not manufactured unpredictable. It's not like Daytona and Talladega. You just put a bunch of cars together and they all wreck and whoever comes out wins. This place, you got to drive. I mean, and the tire fall off is great. The cars come and go throughout the race. I think you saw in the Xfinity race yesterday that a driver's got to win this race.
Yeah, it's a driver's track, and it used to be that the surface was not wide enough, really, to handle the speeds they were at. And of all things that may have happened, they put that safety barrier around the outside, the soft walls, and it made the actual racing surface shorter. Not as wide as it was. It's hard to get through those turns at speed. It's an exciting place to have a race. That's for sure.
It's kind of cool if you think about the tradition of NASCAR. We constantly talk about how the tradition kind of went away with NASCAR, and a lot of the old traditional things that they do are gone. Well, look at the next 3 weeks here, starting with today at Darlington. Next week, we're going to North Wilkesboro for the All-Star race, and then to Charlotte for the Coke 600. So the tradition of NASCAR, the drivers got to love it because they're all going to be very, quite close to home for the next 3 weeks. Not a lot of travel involved with it. So this kind of is a way, it seems to recharge the batteries of NASCAR a little bit and get some of the tradition back to what we had before. So let's hope these next 3 weeks are just as exciting as we were hoping the tradition, is going to be.
Oh, no kidding. Back in the day, that's what the drivers did, was move to Charlotte. And I still think that drivers that want to be, hang around the NASCAR community move to Charlotte. But once you really get established, everybody's got an airplane nowadays. Didn't Tony Stewart live in Indiana for like most of the time he raced in NASCAR?
Yeah, it was in Columbus, Indiana. All the guys used to live in Charlotte. Then it seemed to be so concentrated and they couldn't really get around and do things. So they kind of moved out. I think Jimmy Johnson went to Colorado for a while. Didn't Jeff Gordon go to Florida for a little bit? I mean, it seems like it kind of cycles. Stewart
now lives in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, talk about flying wherever you want to go. That's amazing how it's made this world so much smaller. Then we think about this Darlington track and what great races they put on. It will be televised today on FS1. Of course, you will hear it here in the Big 920 coverage at 1 o'clock today. So big fun. Before we get too much further, I would like to say happy anniversary to my lifelong friends, Dave and Sue Schmalzer, who celebrated 50 years this weekend. We had a nice party yesterday, and Dave has always been one of our great supporters on this program and never misses the show, and I'm sure he's listening today. We're going to sneak away for a break. We appreciate the fact that you tuned in, especially on a wonderful day like Mother's Day, and we'll be right back.
Buckle up, get ready, get set, and get your tickets now as the NASCAR Xfinity Series returns to Wisconsin's Road America in Elkhart Lake, July 27th through the 29th. The smell of fresh rubber and food will fill the air for this weekend, along with the Porsche Carrera Cup for even more racing fun. An amazing, affordable weekend of family fun with camping, food, and more. Kids 16 and under get in free with 8 adults. Come for the experience, stay for the race. Get your tickets today at roadamerica.com. Your national park of speed.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com. Spring is in the air, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need, with fresh mulch arriving daily, from premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to Enviro mulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years, PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
The NASCAR Cup Series.
The King, Richard Petty, is there, and the green flag is in the air.
Takes on the track Too Tough to Tame.
3 wide to the top. Truex gets turned. Oh, and they're piling it up on the back straightaway.
As the NASCAR 75 is honored.
All 4 final time, crowd on their feet, and Joey Logano has won at Darlington.
It's the Goodyear 400.
Sunday, coverage starts at 1 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back to LTN. Thanks for joining us. This week, let's see, this last Wednesday, it was dropped. The new Dale Jr. download is there. If you haven't seen or heard it yet, you need to make it on your to-do list. Robbie Reiser was the guest on there. And, Robbie is a bundle of energy, and he's so smart and so funny and so good to listen to. And Dale just did a spectacular job. That is really a quality program. If you've never got the chance to do it, you really need to. And Robbie was just fantastic. We knew many of the stories that that we heard on there before. We knew, how it just happened to be that he got together with Matt and all that sort of thing. And but it was he was on for 2 hours and 12 minutes just talking about his career, how he and Matt hooked up together, and how they went from just not figuring how they were going to make it from one race to the next to sitting on the head table at the Waldorf in New York, and Robbie going on to run Roush. And I mean, it was really, really good. And a lot was on there about Johnny's, Robbie's dad, Johnny, who raced the short tracks, Hales Corners, Cedarburg, the whole, Slinger dirt when it was all dirt, and he was one of those modified guys, and he was such a cool guy. If any of you didn't know him, he talked with just a little bit of and I wouldn't call it a lisp. He just had a hard time with S's. Todd, sometimes I wondered. I would sit there and I'd watch Robbie go around the track, and I would think, I could have put that money into a college education for the kid instead. Because it took a while for Rob to finally have the light go on and turn into the real short track superstar he ended up being. But it was such great stories. And, Johnny went along with Rob when they went over to Roush. Roush found jobs for Johnny to do. As a matter of fact, if you'll remember, they had a thing called the Gong Show, which was a tryout for developmental drivers to come over and race at Roush. from the ground up. And there were guys from this area that either, geez, I don't know, did they all win the Gong Show, or did they just get discovered through the Gong Show? Todd Cleaver, Eric Darnell, Nate Hosley all came from this area. Also, their careers were advanced through the Gong Show, which Johnny...
Oh, man, really?
Couldn't help but notice your window predicament.
Oh, hey, Dave, yeah. The window and the door and the siding and the roof.
Feltco's got you covered. We can replace your windows, siding, doors, and roofing. Call now and you'll get free installation, no money down, and no interest for 1 year.
Sounds like a grand slam.
Hurry, this offer won't last long. Call now.
For quality windows, siding, and doors, call 866 for Feltco.
Riser ran, and Brian brought up Wilkesboro a little while ago. That track had been sitting for some time when Johnny Riser went over there and looked it over and decided that's where they were going to have the Gong Show. And Johnny is the one that got the track into racing condition. He supervised them, cutting down the trees that were growing through the track and trying to, patching them over, grinding out the stumps and patching them over and getting it in racing shape. He was really the one that got Wilkesboro. And then, of course, they let it go, right? I mean, it was the same thing. The trees all grew back, I guess, didn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much there. The thing I got about that Robbie Riser deal was how much hard work really pays off. I mean, you think about what they did. I mean, coming down from here, they didn't really have a ton of money. I mean, it wasn't like guaranteed they were going to go anywhere. I mean, they were on our show. Remember when Johnny and Robbie were here on the show and said, we're going to go take a shot. We're going down to North Carolina and see what we can do with this. And to have it all work out, I mean, with Matt coming along and the way it all worked out, even then, they didn't have a ton of resources behind them, really. I mean, they had Mark Martin and Jack Roush in their corner. But the rest of it was all just hard work by them. And
it took a while before Mark Martin was in their corner, because there were circumstances. Risers had a plan. When they went down there, they had this successful trailer and boat dock company, wasn't it? The Triton Trailers, I think that's what they made, and they bought land and built a factory basically for building trailers down there for Triton, and that was going to be their source of income as they got their racing going. And Robbie said, we never should have done it. In hindsight, it was a mistake. We thought we had a plan, and we didn't have the wherewithal to really do it, and yet look at where it led. It was absolutely an incredible story. So you'll 2 hours and 12 minutes worth to listen to it. You can I didn't find the whole thing on video. I think only audio, and there were snippets, 20-minute snippets of it, of some of the good stuff on video. But either way, you can find it, and I highly recommend. Dale asked point blank, how much money did you get from Lycos to run that season after Matt won at Rockingham? And he says, $800,000. One whole year in the Busch Series for $800,000.
Set up to be Family Channel. Remember, that was their sponsor. Then they got the Daytona and it was gone. Somebody got pulled off running. That's why that car was red, blue, and yellow at Rockingham with the Lyco stickers on it. That was Family Channel colors.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that Dale Earnhardt Jr. gave him the opportunity to come on there, because if you remember back when the induction ceremony was going on, was that December or January, whenever that was, and they had those short segments where Robbie Riser was on there talking about it, and it was Junior and Kyle Petty and those guys, and they said it was only 10 minutes, and Robbie was kind of like, well, that isn't going to be enough time to tell my story, so that's probably what prompted him to put him on the podcast, and when you have a podcast like that, you can go as long as you want. So, I mean, I've listened to some of those before. I think John Force's was almost 2 hours as well. Junior just lets you go as long as you want, and it's really good stuff. It's a perfect thing to put in when you're, I don't know, exercising or something. You can put that in your earbuds and listen to it then.
Do that, yeah, Brian. Think about what you just said. when somebody else is exercising, not us. Yeah, that Family Channel deal was a Roush deal. That was not a Riser deal. And Robbie went through it, how he went in and sat in the negotiations. Jeff Smith, who was running Roush at the time, told Lycos that wasn't enough money. We don't want it. And Robbie's going, I need it. I'll take it. And it's really good. You need to listen to that story.
Kraft, they had, remember, and then Kraft didn't want to do a full season, and they did an out, so they used the excuse that Matt got the Roush contract to go test for him or something like that, and that's why they kind of pulled the plug on that. And Kraft went with Sterling Marlin that year on a partial schedule. They just wanted an out, and they used that as an out, so that's why they were stuck. And I think Roush and those guys felt a little bad that now they're stuck out of sponsors. They kind of were pushing Family Channel that way, and that didn't work out and turned to Lycos.
Yeah, Robbie said it, that the Kraft money went to Derek Cope. I don't really remember that. Listening to Robbie talk, we knew the stories. It's just like a bedtime story that you've heard before, and you want to hear it again anyway, just because it's such a great story. And again, highly recommended. And I didn't know his shop burned down there. Did you guys know that? Or not down there? It was up when he was at in Allenton. They had their race cars in the shop and it burned down.
True, I don't remember that. I remember Tony Struck burned down that time, but I don't remember that happened to Risers.
Yeah. So good stuff, and how he just happened to race. He started his career in a 4-cylinder division at Slingers Speedway, mini stocks. That's where Robbie started, and good stuff.
Said still there. This kid runs a landscaping business out of it.
Oh, Robbie wrecked his sister's Pinto and ended up using it as a mini stock. We'll be back.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit BonafideSafe.com.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
Racing at the Fair Park in Plymouth resumes this Saturday night, featuring the IRA Sprints and Badger Midgets along with the Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA Sprints. Are you ready for the action of these daredevils? Pits open at 2, grandstand 4:30, on-track action at 5:30. Special pricing for this event. Great food in the covered grandstand. No racing on Memorial Day weekend as we remember our fallen heroes. We'll see you there.
And now, the Dan Patrick Show.
Dan Patrick.
Milwaukee Bucks fired Mike Budenholzer, and this is a couple of years after winning the championship. And this has happened. Frank Vogel with the Lakers, Nick Nurse with Toronto, Budenholzer now. You win the chip, and then you get fired a couple of years later? Yeah, this is a heartless business.
The Dan Patrick Show.
Dan and the Danettes, and you.
Weekday mornings, 5 to 11 a.m. on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Well, I really hate to look past Darlington because the race is today, but there is a considerable amount of excitement from not just the Cup Series, all around the country because there are so many different cars that are racing. It's All-Star Week, and it's coming back to North Wilkesboro. 27 years. Dan, did you say you were at the last race there?
I was at the second last race. I didn't go in 96. I went in 92, 93, 94, 95.
Oh, my. Quite a place to watch a race. 11 feet difference in elevation from one end of the track to the other. And a busy week, Brian. They certainly filled it up, that's for sure.
Yeah, they did. And this is kind of what, I mean, if someone wants to envision a traditional All-Star Week, this is, I think they nailed it as far as how they're setting it up. In fact, it's so popular, they had to limit some of the car counts. So last week the ASA Stars Tour was at Madison, and they're going to be running on Tuesday at North Wilkesboro. And we were down in Illinois this week, and Bob Sargent promotes the track we were at on Thursday night. And there's been a lot of talk about how they capped the ASA Stars Tour entry list to like 51 or 55 cars. So Bob was there, and we found out the deal there. Originally, the ASA Stars race was going to be on Tuesday by themselves, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is kind of also coordinating a lot of this, and the Cars Tour late model stocks and pro late models also want to come in on Tuesday. So right now, on Tuesday, they're going to have practice for the late model stocks and the pro late models. They have 55 in each of those classes, plus 55 ASA Stars cars are going to be there. So you have, if my math is correct, like 160 haulers are going to try to fit into that place on Tuesday. He says he literally cannot put another transporter in there. And parking's limited as well. So Tuesday is going to be the ASA Stars race. That's going to be at 6:30 our time here in Wisconsin. That you can watch on Flow. Wednesday, they have the Cars Pro Late Models, a 75-lapper, and the Cars Tour Late Model Stocks, which is 125 laps. That's at 7 o'clock. I'm not sure exactly where that is on, Dan. Have you seen, is that one going to be on Racing America maybe, or is that also on Flow?
Cars Tour is with Flow this year.
Okay, so those are also on Flow. So you can watch Tuesday and Wednesdays on Flow. Then on Thursday is a fan fest. They're going to have a hauler parade. They're going to have concerts and all sorts of stuff like that. And then on Friday, the NASCAR stuff starts getting out there. They're going to have Truck Series practice. They're going to have Cup Series practice for the All-Star and the Open things. They're going to have the NASCAR Cup Series qualifying, which is going to be a pit crew challenge type qualifying event. That's how they're going to set the field for the Open and the All-Star race. And then Saturday is the truck race. And then on Sunday is the All-Star race. So it is a full week of activities down there, and it's going to be pretty cool. The one thing everybody has to remember is a lot of the stuff at Wilkesboro is the same as it was. So if anybody listening to us is actually going down there, pack your patience, because this isn't set up like all the tracks we go to these days where we have 4-lane highways in, 4-lane highways out. It's going to take some time to get everybody in there and get everybody out of there. And yeah, and if we want this to be a successful event, you got to pack your patience and it's going to be like it was in the 90s. I mean, I remember going to Michigan in the 90s and sitting in the parking lot 4 hours to get out of there. You know, it's what it was. It wasn't nobody really thought much of it. If you wanted to see a race and there's 100,000 people there, that's what you're going to have.
Yeah, the first year we went down to Wilkesboro, we left on a Thursday night, and we drove all the way down and got there on Friday afternoon like at 2 o'clock, in time for qualifying. And the track is right in the middle of town. Our house is right by the racetrack, and we got there, and all the school kids got let out early at noon so they can go watch qualifying. I thought, what a cool town is this, man? They get out of school early to go watch Cup qualifying.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you something. The excitement is beyond belief, but think about what it has taken to do this. I mean, remember, I'm not a super big fan of the fact that it's $18 million of taxpayer money went into this track. I know it's this COVID relief BS that came from the government where we just print money like it's no tomorrow. But, for an all-star race, it seems like a lot. Now that being said, it's very exciting to have racing back there. But, the track itself is going to chew tires up. That's a pretty neat thing when you think about it.
That's the best part of it all, and it was great that Junior was able to interject. And this is Dale Earnhardt Jr., who you can thank for this. I mean, they were going to repave that place. That was the original plan, was to repave the track last fall. After they had last fall after they had the asphalt races there, and he's like, no, let's try to do this the way it is, and they patched it up. I mean, it looks like it's typical side street in any one of your cities, the way they have the different patches and everything in there. But, hey, if you go to a lot of the short tracks around here, that's how a lot of them are, too. You don't repave them all the time, and hopefully they're able to maintain that surface as long as possible and continue to race on it. And I would think, unlike Atlanta, where you're running such high speeds, here you should be able to keep that surface and maybe run on it for as long as you want, as long as you maintain it.
So if this is a success and this works out good, is there a point race there next year?
Yeah, that's the word. They're talking about it. By the way, I don't know if you guys got to see the trophy they're going to award for the All-Star race. It's a still. That's so perfect. This is Junior Johnson country. Rhonda, North Carolina is what, Dan, within 3 miles of the racetrack, maybe, where Junior's place was?
It's real close. He always had to stop there when he went. That was one of those stops he made, and he went to Wilkesboro. Plus, he went up the road to Taylorsville. Harry Gantz had a steakhouse there, and they had a go-kart track out back of that. And those are fast go-karts, and there was no rules. We learned that. They put the northern guys on the fence in the first round in that deal. When we learned how we raced in the second round, we ended up, I think we beat them the second round, but it was a lot of fun just hanging out down there.
Did you go to Junior's place when you were there, Dan?
Oh, yeah. We made places. It was always something you had to stop because it was right along there, and it was one of the shops. It was a big thing to go to the shops back then, and not many of them had places you can go, and we were in there, and you're in Wilkes County. Why not? Yeah.
It was when we stopped there, First we went to Wilkesboro when it was already closed, and we're looking through the fence with a big padlock on it, and then here comes some old dude. It was Enoch Staley, who lived on the property, and he was the manager, I guess, owner, manager. I don't know what he did exactly, but he came and just talked to us like we were old friends. And then, go stop on Junior's place right down the road over there. And we go in there, and we come in, and it's like, whoa, geez, I don't know where we can go. We're looking around in a little bit, and some guy, come on in. What? And he, you get to walk through and watch guys working, and we're looking around, and here's, I could not believe the Southern, talk about Southern hospitality. They were just amazing. We never saw Junior. What was his crew chief at the time, Jeff?
Automation is powering what's possible for businesses of every size in every industry. Unlock your potential at Automate, the largest showcase of robotics and automation in North America, May 22nd through the 25th in Detroit, Michigan. With over 600 exhibitors, 200 speakers, and more than 25,000 registrants, there's no better way to power your business. Register for free at automateshow.com. That's automateshow.com.
Outreach Community Health Centers is proud to provide accessible and affordable health care for the entire family, regardless of insurance status. They offer complete primary care for children and infants, immunizations including COVID-19 vaccinations, booster shots, on-site pharmacy, dental care, mental health and emotional support, and more. Further services include assistance with baby items such as clothing, formula, diapers, help with transportation, and locating housing and employment. For more information, visit ochc-milw.org.
Right, Jeff Hammond. And then
Jeff Hammond was on the phone when we opened the door, and he was on, and he waved to us. Not some idiots just walked in here. No, hey, man. It was like some old friends, Good God. Yeah.
That got me doing this racing deal. I went to other sports, and it wasn't like that. You went to the racing thing, you walked in, and it was like you felt like you belonged.
That was in the Flossie days. That's before Junior got rid of Flossie because he wanted him a son, and Flossie wasn't having no kids, so we got to get a new one. We'll be back.
Buckle up, get ready, get set, and get your tickets now as the NASCAR Xfinity Series returns to Wisconsin's Road America in Elkhart Lake, July 27th through the 29th. The smell of fresh rubber and food will fill the air for this weekend, along with the Porsche Carrera Cup for even more racing fun. An amazing, affordable weekend of family fun with camping, food, and more.
Kids 16 and under get in free with 8 adults.
Come for the experience, stay for the race. Get your tickets today at roadamerica.com. Your national park of speed.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Racing at the Fair Park in Plymouth resumes this Saturday night, featuring the IRA Sprints and Badger Midgets, along with the Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA Sprints. Are you ready for the action of these daredevils? Pits open at 2, grandstand 4:30, on-track action at 5:30. Special pricing for this event. Great food in the covered grandstand. No racing on Memorial Day weekend as we remember our fallen heroes. We'll see you there.
This week on NASCAR Live, Mario Andretti joined the show.
Totally flattered, obviously. It's to bring back such wonderful memories and meaningful memories for me of my career. And, of course, just being considered, in the NASCAR world like that, it's really a great pleasure. And then I can hardly wait to get there.
There's much more waiting for you each week on NASCAR Live.
Every Tuesday night at 6 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back to the program. We had a race at Kansas last week and didn't see it live. We were at Madison, but I did get to see that the end of that thing, and I was kind of blown away. You wonder why Denny Hamlin is not a popular race car driver. I suppose some people like his style, but the only way to win that race would be to somehow get into Larson. That's what he did, and went on to win his first race of the year. Larson has more fans than Hamlin will ever have, I believe. that isn't even what the big story was after the race, because Noah Gragson, who is one of those guys you think to yourself, is he got it or doesn't he? He sure did have it in the Xfinity Series. Now that he's over here, he's got to race in this legacy racing team, and is that really a good team or not? Chastain, what do you say? Side drafted him on the last lap, guys? That's really what that was, right?
That's what it looked like. I mean, he kind of maybe moved him up, coming to the flag, and got a position. I mean, Chastain has been, making people mad lately. He's kind of getting that reputation now, and it's starting to follow him. And I guess, other drivers are probably like, somebody's got to put him in his place. I just don't know if Noah Gragson's the guy to do it. I mean, to me, it seemed like Noah's not intimidating to me at all. I mean, I wouldn't be afraid of him.
And I don't know that Noah did anything that would warrant being upset. I mean, he didn't touch him. He didn't really do anything. He just disturbed the air around his car, which is a part of racing on that type of a track. You're going to have that. So for Noah to blow up about that on Ross, I didn't think was warranted properly. But
a lot of video out there. If you haven't seen it, you probably should. It was all instigated by Gragson. He came over and he grabbed Chastain, and Chastain warned him more than once, get your hands off of me. And he kept it up and was shaking him and this and that. And Chastain landed a quick right to the face. I mean, it was beautiful. And before Gragson even had the opportunity to hit him back, the NASCAR official jumped in between. It was, that's exactly what it sounded like, what you just heard there. And it was interesting that they let them fight, for crying out loud. Come on, but there were no fines, right?
No, I didn't think there would be either. I mean, they got what they wanted out of it. I mean, what did Chastain say? We got a no-push policy here at Trackhouse, and he pushed me, and he paid for it.
Yeah, it was, and of all the things that you could get into a fight with Chastain over, that was one of the least ones you'd have to worry about. Chastain has done some other things, but Gragson, as you get more competitive, you start running better, you get a little fired up when things don't go your way, and I guess Gragson must be wound pretty tight. That's what my guess is. And thought.
Well, he even commented afterwards. He said, our cars aren't running that good these days, and Ross is probably going to be lapping me a couple times, a race going forward. So he better watch it. I might be able to get equal, and that's kind of like, okay, no, I don't know how good of an idea it was to go out there and basically say that our cars are that bad.
Yeah,
you don't hear that real often from people.
Makes you wonder what those 2 7-time champions thought of that comment. That are the ones actually in charge of that deal. Yeah. Well, you like to have a driver with piss and vinegar, and Gregson's got it. Now we just got to channel it the right way, and he's probably going to be a pretty good one. So
I don't think that's really developed yet between those two, and they had one incident. I'm not sure you can call it a feud or anything yet, or if it's going to carry on or what. I mean, that ain't Earnhardt and Bodine territory, where that was every week that was going on.
Yeah, it's just started, like what Gragson said. He's just trying to get better, and anything that gets in his way of improving, probably, your temper does get short sometimes, and apparently that's what it did for Noah Gragson last week. The list of the 75 greatest drivers, I thought it got all announced at the same time, and it did not. They've been letting out a few drivers' names at a time. I can't say there's any surprises on the list. There's a couple of guys that didn't race in the Cup Series that made it onto the list that, you would have thought, well, NASCAR's greatest drivers, yeah, there's other divisions. Even their Hall of Fame has guys in it that didn't race in Cup, as you know. But Matt Kenseth, to no one's surprise, was named to the list of the 75 greatest drivers this week. I guess the real drama was that they waited until they announced the last name of the 75 before they announced Jimmy Johnson. Why that is, I'm not sure. Maybe just for the drama, maybe just for the effect that he wasn't named before some of these other guys.
Did you see Matt's on Twitter when he got announced? I mean, Matt doesn't tweet at all anymore, hardly. But he said it's an honor to be there, but I feel so bad for my colleague Jimmy Johnson, who's been excluded from this list, and he was the next guy, obviously.
He had a good career, too, or something like that. Yeah, Yeah, he did actually 7 championships. Yeah, but I think it was just for effect. The real thing, if you'll remember, when NASCAR, here, listen to me, it was 25 years ago, when they had their 50-year celebration, they did the NASCAR, the 50 greatest drivers, and Alan Kowicki was on that list. Now, 25 years later, it's not that hard to add 25 more names to the list, I don't suppose. If we want to do a real fun thing, take those 75 and make them the top 50 drivers. Now let's find out who's all on that list. We'd cut some of the BS out of there, huh?
It would be a tough pick to do, tough way to weed them out, I would think. I mean, it's a lot of picking and choosing to try to figure out and going through stats and figuring out who did what, because like I said, we didn't know back then how good Jimmy Johnson was going to be. We didn't, know that Matt Kenseth was going to be as good as he was. And, going forward, where's Kyle Larson going to be going forward, Right now, he's one of the best there is.
The 25 newest names on the list were over the last 25 years, too, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to look at the list closer, I suppose. But it's not hard to add one name per year, it seems like to me. So in 25 years, when we're doing this show in our 75th year, we'll be able to see how many more names they add to that list. We're glad you're joining us today. This is a real honor here on Mother's Day for you to take a little time out and join us. When we come back, we're going to have some results from around the world of short track racing. There it is. I knew I'd hear that music on our brand new computer. We'll be right back.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
Buckle up, get ready, get set,
And get your tickets now as the NASCAR Xfinity Series returns to Wisconsin's Road America in Elkhart Lake, July 27th through the 29th. The smell of fresh rubber and food will fill the air for this weekend, along with the Porsche Carrera Cup for even more racing fun. An amazing, affordable weekend of family fun with camping, food, and more.
Kids 16 and under get in free with 8 adults.
Come for the experience, stay for the race. Get your tickets today at
RoadAmerica.com.
your national park of speed.
Spring is in the air, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need, with fresh mulch arriving daily, from premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to Enviro mulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years, PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Pace truck hits the pit lane, gets out of the way, and they get ready for the green flag.
Heads up Highway 421.
Nick Sanchez outside row 1, Carson Hocebarro, and they're going to wad him up going into turn number 3.
For the return to North Wilkesboro.
Grant Enfinger to the line, and with the win as a checkered flag goes in the air.
It's the Tyson 250.
Coming up Saturday afternoon, coverage starts at noon on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
And now the LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
Full week of dirt racing we have for you this week. We'll start Tuesday night Over in Beaver Dam, their normal night now is Tuesdays. In the IMCA Modifieds, Brandon Schmidt picked up the win, coming from 11th through the field to pick up the feature win there. And in the IMCA Stock Cars, it was Tyler Wilson. Wednesday night, Banner, Illinois, the Spoon River Speedway for the Castrol Flow Racing Night in America. $23,023 to win on a Wednesday night. And Dennis Erb Jr. picked up the win there. In the UMP Modifieds, Mike McKinney was your winner. Abbottstown, Pennsylvania, the Lincoln Speedway for the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series. Pennsylvania's own Anthony Macri got the win on Wednesday night. Thursday night, Dan and I made the trip down to Lincoln, Illinois for Castrol Flow Racing Night in America. $23,023 again to win. And Hudson O'Neill picked up the win there. Dan, that was a pretty exciting race. That little bitty bull ring there, they really took care of business on the cushion there.
Yeah, I mean, they really get around that place. That's pretty wild. It's the first time I've ever been there. Nice little track in the middle of town. Good atmosphere and a pretty good race. That Rocket 1's pretty tough.
Yes, it is. That is a Bob Sargent promoted track down there at Lincoln on the fairgrounds down there. Friday night, we made the trip over to Farmer City, Illinois for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. They got all the heat races in, and then the rains came down, and boy, did it rain. It rains big time down in Illinois. It poured. Fortunately, all the Lucas guys are still in town, and they're going to be making their way to Iowa next week, so they're going to run that feature tomorrow night. You can watch it on Flow, the Farmer City 74. Dan and I are not making the 4-hour trip back down there, though. We'll watch it on Flow tomorrow night.
We got to see. It was pretty good, and when that rain came, I thought Brian was right behind me. I got to the car just in time, and before the deluge hit, and no, Brian got lost in the crowd, so he got stuck in the rain.
I was under the covered grandstand, and I saw the water rise, so... Yeah, it does that in Illinois. Other places on Friday night, Chilton, Wisconsin, Gravity Park Speedway. Jesse Cullen won the Modifieds. The Grand Nationals went to Derek Schrouth, and the Stock Cars was Tim Miller. They opened their season up at Menominee at the Red Cedar Speedway. In the Wissota Late Models, Pat Dorr was your winner. The Wissota Modifieds was Shane Halapka. Jim Falls, Wisconsin, Eagle Valley Speedway opened up Friday night. In the Wissota Modifieds, it was Caden Blauser, your winner. In the USRA Limited Late Models, Dylan Kromschrader. Jacksonville, Illinois, the All-Star Circuit of Champions Sprint Cars, Hunter Schoenberg was your winner. Scotty Thiel, Sheboygan's own, who's running the full All-Star circuit this year, he finished 9th. Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, the Williams Grove Speedway for the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. Brad Sweet picked up the win. Last night at Plymouth in the late models, Taylor Scheffler picked up the win over Brad Miller, finished 2nd. The MSA 360 Sprints went to Brandon McMullen, and the Grand Nationals was Will Source. Francis Crick, the 141 Speedway, opened up their season in the IMCA Modifieds. It was Todd Dart. Stock Cars went to Luke Lemons, and the Grand Nationals was Derek Schrouth. 2 for 2 on the weekend. That's a pretty good way to start your season. Shawano opened up their season last night in the late models. Gunnar Frank, the young child of Todd Frank, who's been racing late models for a long time, picked up the season opening win. He held off Nick Anveling to pick up the win, so that is a...
How young is he?
Are you craving down-home comfort food? This is Jeff Grunder inviting you to the Machine Shed. We've got weekly features for everyone, starting off with our Kickin' Chicken Tuesdays with classic fried chicken. Then on Smokehouse Wednesdays, we have our slow-roasted hickory smoked ribs. And don't forget our Fish Fry Fridays with fresh North Atlantic cod. Each night is all you care to eat and comes with all the Machine Shed fixings. Bring the family and bring your appetite. The Machine Shed, I-94 and Highway 164, Pewaukee.
Outreach Community Health Centers is proud to provide accessible and affordable health care for the entire family, regardless of insurance status. They offer complete primary care for children and infants, immunizations including COVID-19 vaccinations, booster shots, on-site pharmacy, dental care, mental health and emotional support, and more. Further services include assistance with baby items such as clothing, formula, diapers, help with transportation, and locating housing and employment. For more information, visit ochc-milw.org.
I don't even know if he's 20 yet. He's pretty young. But to hold off Nick Anvelink at Shawano, that is a feat. So congratulations to him. In the IMCA Modifieds, it was Johnny Whitman. The Stock Cars was Travis Van Stratton. Fairbury last night, the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series, $30,000 to win there. Bobby Pierce picked up the win after a long rain delay. That's partly why Dan and I came back. We saw some weather on the horizon there, and I believe that race ended around 11:30 last night. Bobby Pierce picking up the win. In the Modifieds, it was Mike McKinney. And finally, at Wilmot last night, Dan and I made the trip over there. The All-Star Circuit of Champions were there. 42 sprint cars were on hand for that. Tyler Courtney picked up the win. Pretty cool scenario there. There's a lot of the IRA guys. Some of them are underfunded teams. You know, a lot of them don't have a lot in it. And my cousin's son, who's Preston Rue, who's been racing the 360s. This is his first year going into the IRA 410s, talking to him before, and he's like, yeah, it would be just a feat if we were able to make the feature event there. And lo and behold, he's in the fifth heat race, started 6th, passed 2 cars, and made the All-Star Circuit of Champions feature last night at Wilmot. Really cool to see that for that small team there. And what a way to start your season and boost a little bit of energy for you to make a big show like that. So the IRA wingless sprints were there, and Clayton Rossman was your winner there. The All-Stars come back the week after Memorial Day. They'll be back in Wisconsin June 2nd and 3rd at Dodge County and Plymouth. That is everything for this week.
And in the world of asphalt racing, thanks to my friend Paul Reichert, friend of the program, last week the Joe Shear Classic at Madison International Speedway, the ASA Stars Tour was there. We thought we saw Dan Fredrickson win that race and do one hell of a job doing it, holding off Ty Majeski. What we didn't know at the time, and I'm sure Dan Fredrickson didn't know, they had to change at the end of practice on Saturday. They blew the engine. They had to change the engine. They changed the engine. The inspectors were standing next to the car while they changed the engine, and they put it on with a carb spacer that was 1 inch instead of the required ½ inch. Nobody caught it before the race, but they sure as hell caught it after the race. And DQ put to the last place, and Ty Majeski will win the second race of the series. Right? Did we find out who the point leader is after that first 2 races, guys? I don't even know if I saw it.
No, I haven't seen that.
Okay, we'll have to check that out. Either way, a real good race out there at Madison. James Lynch won in the Midwest Truck Series in the event right before that. Friday night, we had our share of rain in the state of Wisconsin. It was rained out both at Golden Sands and at Toma. Grundy County Speedway, back in the great land of flat where you guys were. Apparently it didn't rain down at Grundy. Eddie Hoffman won in the super late models down there. Yesterday in the great state of Wisconsin, it's the same story at the Wisconsin Dells. The late model Triple Crown round 1. It was Mike Litchfield winning again. And speaking of winning again at Jefferson, a second straight clean sweep for Jason Erickson in the late models. Pretty impressive feat, if I don't mind telling you. At Rockford, it was Michael Bilderback in the NASCAR late models. And they had a Tundra super late model race at, where was that? Oh, Kaukauna, yeah, the WIR in Kaukauna. Sawyer Efforts, a local guy, the first local to win the Tundra Series when they raced up there. Also, the Mid-Am Series was there. Maxwell Schultz won in that one. And if you haven't seen or heard about it yet, the ARCA Series ran at Nashville, and Luke Fenhouse wins for the first time on a late race restart. Did you guys say that Swalich led every lap until the end?
Yep.
Just before the checkered flag and a yellow came out, and they re-racked him, and Luke got him on the restart and drove to the victory. That's good for them, man. He leads the win. He's running good all year round. You know, top 3 finishes are great, and now he got the win under his belt, so let's see if that opens the floodgates.
From the outside, he did it, too. Pretty damn impressive. We're glad you're tuned in here on Mother's Day. We're going to sneak away and be back. Please return after these messages.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship-winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
Buckle Buckle up, get ready, get set,
and get your tickets now as the NASCAR Xfinity Series returns to Wisconsin's Road America in Elkhart Lake, July 27th through the 29th. The smell of fresh rubber and food will fill the air for this weekend, along with the Porsche Carrera Cup for even more racing fun. An amazing, affordable weekend of family fun with camping, food, and more.
Kids 16 and under get in free with paid adult.
Come for the experience, stay for the race. Get your tickets today at
RoadAmerica.com.
your National Park of Speed.
Racing at the Fair Park in Plymouth resumes this Saturday night, featuring the IRA Sprints and Badger Midgets, along with the Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA Sprints. Are you ready for the action of these daredevils? Pits open at 2, grandstand 4:30, on-track action at 5:30. Special pricing for this event. Great food in the covered grandstand. No racing on Memorial Day weekend as we remember our fallen heroes. We'll see you there.
The NASCAR Cup Series.
The King, Richard Petty, is there, and the green flag is in the air.
Takes on the track Too Tough to Tame.
3 wide to the top. Truex gets turned. Oh, and they're piling it up on the back straightaway.
As the NASCAR 75 is honored.
Off 4, final time. Crowd on their feet, and Joey Logano has won at Darlington.
It's the Goodyear 400.
Sunday, coverage starts at 1 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back this week. Julie Giese, the pride of Colby, Wisconsin, has got her hands full with dealing with Chicago. Just a terribly negative article in the Chicago Sun-Times about the NASCAR weekend, which is, less than 2 months away now. And I just can't believe that it's so negative. They're just... I don't know why they're trying to kill this thing before it can even get off the ground. But we are stuck with this race, is what the editorial said. This week, I see that mufflers became an issue, and I guess Julie and NASCAR have agreed that the cars are going to run mufflers. I think they run mufflers at other places, don't they?
I think they did at the Coliseum in L.A. for the beginning of the year.
Oh.
Yeah.
If the mufflers are what the big deal is, I guess there were other things, like, for instance, the Shed Aquarium, Brian, I guess is going to shut down for the weekend?
Yeah. I mean, there's entrance issues there because their main entrance to that complex of those 3 museums is down in one of the corners off of Lakeshore Drive, where they're going to make the turn to start coming back, and that's going to block their entrance, and they didn't know what to do. And they're just saying we're just going to shut down. And I'm sure there's better solutions to this. But again, as we've been talking about since this race was announced, if you ever want to see something where the cart was put before the horse, that's what happened here.
Yeah,
because all the logistics and all the little bits and pieces of things that should have been taken care of and went over with a fine-tooth comb before a deal like this was signed, none of that was taken care of. I mean, to this day, we still don't know where the garage area is going to be for the cars. Don't know where the media center is going to be. Don't know where you're going to put all these people, and we're a month and a half away. And that's why this is getting such bad publicity, because if you ever want to see a project how it's not supposed to be put together, I think that's how this was, because all the people, the stakeholders that are involved with it didn't meet and didn't get all the details taken care of, didn't dot all the I's, didn't cross all the T's, and just said, hey, we're going to do this event. And once they say they're going to do this event, now we're going to try to put the pieces together. And unfortunately, that's how this event has been put together. I mean, can it be successful? Sure.
And Julie Easy didn't know what she was getting herself into.
Correct. Yeah, and that's the sad part about it. And now you have the biggest thing of it all is the political aspects of it now, because you have a mayor that didn't win her re-election term, who's the one who did all this, so she's gone. So all these other people are out there now, and now you don't have any of the stakeholders that signed this agreement in office anymore. So I feel bad for all the people that have to work for this, because this is not it's a no-win situation for a lot of them.
The newspaper is already saying the words, we are stuck with this deal for 3 years, and things like, maybe we can get out of it after 1, and they haven't even run the event yet. I mean,
right.
It's exciting for NASCAR to be downtown in a major city like that.
And it's kind of funny, Dan, we were driving to Illinois this week, and we're listening to Sirius XM, and John Roberts starts reading an article about it, thinking it's going to be a positive article about the race, and it's not, and he's got to quickly put lipstick on the pig. It was kind of funny, right, Dan?
That's the Chicago Sun-Times.
I mean, they got a lot going against them, especially when your local media isn't coming out in your favor right now. I don't know how you turn that. I mean, they got a tough road to hoe to get this thing to go. hope they can do it. I wish them luck. It's a cool concept. Like you said, I just got a lot to overcome.
And if you look at how other events are usually done, IndyCar is a prime example because they run a lot of street races. Usually, like Nashville is the newest example I will use because this is going to be their third year. Nashville, they want the race. So they embrace everything they do to get that race. And, Nashville, you're blocking bridges and you're running them right through the streets. If you're to have a street race, Chicago, it's in a park. Nobody lives there. It really, other than a little bit of Lakeshore Drive, it's not going to disrupt a lot of traffic down there. And they have this big of an issue with it. Again, it's because the city didn't seek out the race as a whole. It was NASCAR looking for them to put a street race in there. And when you do it backwards, that's where you get the problems like this. St. Petersburg, they love IndyCar. Nashville loves IndyCar. Long Beach loves IndyCar. They want those races.
Traffic was a cluster in Chicago before they started blocking off all these streets downtown and doing that too, Cart before the horse, that's a perfect way to put it. And I hope Casey gets it figured out.
When you do all these kinds, all different, especially in that political aspect, you got to know how to play the game, and that's you don't understand that until you go through it, I guess. And there's right and wrong, and you got to play the game. And I think they just didn't know how to play the game right now.
They're learning on the fly, and it's certainly they're going to have a lot to go on for their second year. I hate to say it, but the first year is going to be probably a dry run for years 2 and 3. They'll know all the different areas that they need to improve. Hey, they started patching up the streets. Who's paying for that? We mentioned last week. Who's paying for the street repairs that are being done so that these cars can all come by at and who knows what the speed is going to be on these things? Probably no more than about 60, 70 miles an hour top speed, right? Maybe less than that. So a lot to happen.
It's going to be tight. Hey, Brian, you did find out the point leader for that Stars Tour?
Yes, Casey Roderick is the point leader by 10 over Ty Majeski. Gabe Summers is third in that, but right now I don't see Gabe's name on the entry list for North Wilkesboro, so I'm thinking he's going to forfeit his...
What if Gabe, they put a 15 on a car down there?
That could be. Maybe that's what they're going to do.
It was done before, like last week with Dan Fredrickson running an odd number. There's ways around these things. Hey, we're sure glad you tuned in today. Our best to all the mothers. We love you.
How about Eric Jones? How about Eric Jones in a 15 car?
Oh, let's do it quickly. You're taking Eric Jones. Isn't that interesting?
Oh, I'm thinking he should run the 15 car at North Wilkesboro.
Oh, all right. Let's quickly today. I'm going to take Byron to win. Ed, who are you looking at? Dan?
Ed said Kevin Harvick earlier. I'm going to go with Ross Chastain.
All right. And Brian?
Denny Hamlin in the 11.
The most popular driver. Here's something to remember. Real race cars have doors, even if they do climb in through the windows. Let's Talk NASCAR is produced and directed by Dangerous Dan Margetta. Our world-class elite engineer with our brand-new computer is Matt Losi. For all of us involved with the program, we love you. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week, everybody.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations via Skype. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.
Automation is powering what's possible for businesses of every size in every industry. Unlock your potential at Automate, the largest showcase of robotics and automation in North America, May 22nd through the 25th in Detroit, Michigan. With over 600 exhibitors, 200 speakers, and more than 25,000 registrants, there's no better way to power your business. Register for free at automateshow.com. That's automateshow.com.